The final piece I'm just going to share with you from, it's a sermon called Innocence Lost, and it's about another garden story. You know, you read the story, it still happens, it ends up the same way. Last week I was with my bride in South Carolina. We spent a wonderful time. She didn't work me too hard, and that's a good thing. because she has put a new term to retirement. It's called rehirement. And I'm going to go to work for her. She wasn't laughing, so I didn't either. And by the way, I do have to say this. For those of you who don't know Ponthiola, or haven't had the exquisite pleasure, she really is the best reason to know me. And part of the early retirement is, yes, we launched a business, but part of it is she has followed me everywhere. She has reinvented herself many times over, because she's the entrepreneur. I'm the one stuck in the institution, and as much as I grouse from time to time, it's safe. She's the one who takes risks, and she will step out on a limb and jump, because I'm tied to her. Whether I want to jump or not, I got to go with her. But frankly, retiring early and going to work with her and work for her, it's not about grace and gift, it's about wage. I owe her. And I don't really have enough time in the rest of my life to pay her back, but I'm going to try, because I owe her. And so that is in a good part of what this is all about. So anyway, last week, I was down there, I was walking through the house talking to myself.
To herself.
Oftentimes I'll say, okay, people, as Ponthiola who helped me understand years ago, that when I say that, usually in the morning, I'm talking about all these inner constituent parts within me. And you know, it's a great day when they answer, because sometimes they don't answer. But anyway, she said, you're talking to yourself. And so, but we've been apart for so long, she wasn't used to it anymore. So I was walking through talking. And she said, why do you talk to yourself? And my immediate answer, without thinking, was, my father talked to himself. And so it's learned behavior. But then I started thinking, I said, well, it's kind of the way I sort things out from time to time. I talk to myself and I answer, and sometimes it's a 3, 4, 5-way conversation. And sometimes all the voices are going at the same time. It's really quite an incredible experience. But in any case, the funny thing was, I sat down to reflect on a sermon to share with you, and I picked this sermon without realizing what it was going to say. Because you ever write stuff and you don't quite remember everything you wrote? Okay. For a long time in my family, by the way, the reason why I go Paul Roberts Abernathy is I'm seeking to claim my entire heritage. Because my growing up years in my nuclear family wasn't pleasant. Wasn't particularly sweetness and love. You know, my father was a raging alcoholic and an angry man. In large measure because he didn't have the opportunity others might have had. In large measure because he was a person of color, trying to make it in a world where the majority race predominated. Not only that, my father was a very dark-skinned man with straight black hair because his father was Cuban. So therefore, he wasn't accepted in the African-American community because he didn't have the right hair. He wasn't accepted in the white community because he didn't have the right color. So he was an angry man. When he came out of the war in World War II, out of the army, he had 2 jobs he could do. One was to be a school teacher, for which he had not the temperament, because he had no patience. The other was being a postal clerk. So that's what he did angrily for 40 years. My mother was a quiescent, compliant woman raised to obey her husband. Therefore, she didn't know how to protect her sons when the father, in his mercurial alcoholic swings, would lash out. You with me so far? Mm-hmm. So by the way, those of you who know that rageful side of me, you know where. For the longest time when I was growing up, I contented myself by saying, I know I'm adopted. I couldn't possibly come from these people. And then, lo and behold, as I age, every morning when I shave, I see more and more my father's face. I am his son. Damn. I just want to read one paragraph. Oh, that we could revert to a childlike state, start all over, get it right, which in some sense we try to do with our children, as our parents sought to do with us. But try as we might, we can't get it right. Our children learn from us. they too lose innocence and act accordingly. And even as we grow older, we may find ourselves saying more often than not, I am becoming my father or my mother. And often when we say that, it is decidedly not a statement of self-congratulation or thanksgiving. So I mean, it was amazing when I was explaining this to her, and I pulled out this sermon and read that. So anyway, that's all I want to read tonight, and I share this with her.
Okay.